It's strange how a single moment can shatter everything you believed was steady. That's exactly what happened one evening, when my wife's attempt at a joke cracked open something far deeper than either of us expected. What began as a bright, joyful night in our home unraveled into a memory neither of us will ever forget. The house was alive with friends. Plates passed from hand to hand, laughter bounced off the walls, and the room was warm with stories and chatter. I leaned comfortably on the sofa, letting the ease of the night wash over me, certain nothing could spoil it. But the smallest spark can ignite into a blaze. One of her friends made a light-hearted remark about men and their delicate egos. Harmless, the kind of comment people usually brush aside with a chuckle. Then my wife, glass of wine tilting in her hand, leaned back with a sly grin and added her own twist. Some men really do have reason to doubt themselves. Not everyone measures up, if you know what I mean. The room froze for a beat. Her words weren't vague. They were aimed straight at me, her eyes locked on mine to be sure the sting landed. Then she laughed, a sound sharper than her jab. Her friends followed, though their laughter was uneasy, the kind that feels forced but still fills the air. I sat motionless, thoughts colliding in my head. The woman I trusted, the one I'd built a life beside, had stripped me down in front of everyone we knew best. It felt like the ground had given way beneath me. For an instant, I thought of letting it pass, swallowing the hurt to keep the night intact. But something inside me refused. I leaned forward, met her stare, and replied calmly but with precision. Maybe I'm nothing special. But when you're standing in a stadium that large, even the best player can look small. The silence that followed was suffocating. Then laughter roared through the room. Her friends bent over, hiding their faces, unable to contain it. My words hadn't just deflected her barb, they'd turned it all back on her. Her smile crumbled. Color rushed to her cheeks, not from the wine but from humiliation so raw it was almost visible. Her eyes brimmed, and before anyone could speak, she bolted upstairs and slammed the bedroom door. She never came down again that night. The party limped on, awkward small talk filling the gaps, but the evening was already broken. I sat composed on the outside, though inside I churned. A part of me regretted striking so hard. Another part believed it was the only way to make her understand the weight of her words. I wasn't going to play the role of the quiet, wounded husband. The next morning, the house was unervingly still. She hadn't joined me in bed, and I figured her anger lingered. When she finally came down, her eyes were swollen, her face pale, her body heavy with exhaustion. She sat across from me at the kitchen table, hands shaking around her mug. Silence stretched until she finally whispered, "I'm sorry." I waited, watching, wanting to know if it was just words or something deeper. Her voice cracked as she went on. She admitted she hadn't realized how cruel it sounded, that she thought it was harmless fun until she saw everyone laugh. She said when I turned it back on her, she felt the sting herself. That's when she saw how far she'd gone. Shame poured out of her as she admitted she'd humiliated me in the one way a wife never should. Tears slid down her cheeks as she murmured, "You didn't deserve that." I listened, torn between relief and the wound that still burned. Her regret was genuine, but the memory of her mocking me, the echo of laughter around us, had carved too deep a mark. We talked for hours that morning. She swore it wasn't meant to destroy my confidence, just a careless attempt at humor. I told her words like that, especially spoken in front of others, cut deeper than she could ever imagine, and no apology could erase them. She nodded, haunted by the memory of my face when her joke landed. That night became a turning point. It wasn't just about an offhand remark, it was about respect, about remembering that the person you love should never be the one to tear you down in front of others. She felt the sting of humiliation herself. And I realized the importance of defending my dignity, even if it meant letting the truth show. Looking back, it doesn't feel like a victory. It wasn't about winning or one-upping her. It was about proving that respect isn't optional in a marriage. It's the ground everything else stands on. Once it cracks, no apology can make it whole again. She promised, through tears, that she'd never cross that line again. But the scar remains, for both of us. Maybe that's what it takes to understand the pain of seeing yourself in the harm you've caused. Words, once spoken, can never be taken back.